Hey, first off, all praise to the Most High God in the name of His only begotten Son. Jacob's Lantern's back again. I just want to preface this video. This conversation is with an atheist brother named JT. I don't know him personally, but from the few conversations I had with him, he seems like a good dude. I just want to make sure that we are not attributing or misidentifying his ethical framework or his morality. He says his morals is typically coming from the biblical text and his upbringing. So I just want to preface that. This conversation is having to do with the idea of atheism and how we ground and justify morality. So the nature of these conversations get a little heated. So I just want to preface the video with that, saying JT seems like a cool brother, and I don't want to misidentify his morality. So if you like the video, just like, share, subscribe. If you have your own thoughts, go ahead and leave them in the comments. We can talk about it. But yeah, man, appreciate the support. All praise to the Most High God.
Just know you with the actions.
Switch my life from game banging, now I'm serving the Lord. A nigga really used to bang in the middle of wars. No matter how a nigga feeling, I gotta endure. Now I'm trying to be the elect, the 144. We be posted on the block doing God's work. No matter what's the situation, the Most High come first. They try to hide me in my sin, I was rooted in dirt. Now a nigga know the truth, I show by works. They can't tell a nigga nothing, I'm in my bag now. I'ma sacrifice my life just to get me a crown. I'm feeling like P.O.P. cause I'ma hold it down.
Read that. Read it in the Bible for it.
You would prove that to me?
Oh my God. He's like talking.
Come on, man. Come on, Elder. Don't do it like that. Let's have a genuine dialogue, Elder.
Okay. Answer one question. He came up on Bethlehem.
Boy, this shit is crazy.
Hey, we got brought a mic real quick.
No, hell.
All right, let me talk real quick. All right.
Stand right here.
Hey, I'm digging the movement. I'm digging the movement, first of all. Like, whenever black folks get together, you know, and start, like, you know, thinking constructively and positively and getting into the literature, that's an awesome thing. Also, I had to learn that the Hebrew Israelite philosophy is very old. Goes back to, like, the 1800s.
I'll be back. Yeah.
It goes back to, like, the 1800s in the United States. Now, and of course, Judaism was in Africa a long time ago, right?
You don't believe in God, just
right? Yeah, I've been an atheist for about 2.5 years. All right. Now, just because there was a certain religious group in a certain geographic area, somewhere in between Africa and the Middle East, that doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has to fall in love with it. Like, for example, if the Bantu people had a certain religion, that doesn't mean that everybody has to fall in love with it. If the Iranians or the Persians had a certain religion, that doesn't mean that everybody has to fall in love with it. Just because there is a religion in Jerusalem, or some even try to put Israel in Africa, that doesn't mean that everybody has to fall in love with it.
How do you try to put Israel in Africa when it's in Africa? It's on the continent of Africa.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, the whole world is one landmass. I mean, you could walk from South Africa to China to Alaska, you know, if those land strips didn't get submerged, you know. So the whole world is one.
It's not one continent.
It's all Pangea, it's all Africa, it's all Europe, it's all Asia, it's all America.
When it tells you that the 7 continents, and then Christ even says that Asia Minor, Asia, and then, you know, you had Africa, the landmass of Africa, and then you had this where we at right now was known as the other side of the world.
Wait, do you agree with what I said about the landmass?
No.
Is it possible to walk from South Africa to China?
I never did it.
Yeah, you do that right now. Wait. So when
South
you look
Africa
at the
to China, yes, you can.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay.
China, yes.
I imagine you don't agree with the Google map, right?
As far as what?
No.
Like,
South
would you
Africa
say
to
that
China,
it's at least 90
it's
to
connected.
95% correct?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the way I see it, you could walk from Africa to the Middle East to Europe, and then turn around and go to Asia. And depending on what time period, you could even walk across and get to the Americas. You know what I'm saying? So saying something is in Africa or something is in Jerusalem, it's all the same thing. That's why they came up with the concept of Pangea when they cut the pieces of the map out. You know. Now, like I said, I'm digging the movement, right? Because all hard work leads to profit. right? And like in Proverbs it says that. And so if you study Hebrew Israelite philosophy, if you study football, if you go to the military, shoot, even becoming a gang member in certain ways, all hard work leads to profit, right? And so I was a believer myself. Now, a person, they might not necessarily believe in the teaching that my denomination taught, but they taught a certain type of teaching, and I submitted myself to it from high school all the way up until my early 30s, and it gave me some profit, right? Now, in seeking to better my understanding of my faith, what ended up happening is something that was kind of common. A person will be studying their faith to better practice it, and then they end up becoming an atheist. Why? Because certain concepts start falling off. And you guys would agree, maybe not necessarily with atheism, but you study traditional Christianity, certain concepts fell off, and then you led the Hebrew Israelite philosophy. I'll stop right there. Let you say something.
I mean, in a way, I understand what you're saying and how you put it, and I would agree with some of the stuff that you said. But the philosophy that you come up with, and then you say that. So let me ask. I gotta try to ask the question now. Is if you don't believe that there's a God, how do you exist?
Well, that's an axiom. An axiom, like that's a foundational concept that I exist and that you exist. God is a hypothesis of cosmic origins. You know what I'm saying? Like humans, I gotta thank my pops for this one. He was telling me about how humans have always wondered about, hey, where do we come from and where are we going? It's a genuine pursuit. A genuine thing to have on your mind, where do we come from, where are we going? Now, of course, as a child, you look up and you see your parents, and so as a human, you probably would think that a big human made all this stuff. But if you ask a tree that ain't thought it out, they probably think a big tree made all this stuff. A horse might think a big horse made all this stuff, But like they have that term, anthropocentrism. Like anthropocentrism, I might have mispronounced a little bit, but it's a human-centered view of metaphysics. Now, I'm a humanist, and so I do acknowledge that I have some human-centered views, but my intent is to have a responsible lifestyle as a human.
So
What's his cosmic hypothesis?
Just like traditional stuff that you learn in school, like
Big Bang Theory?
Yeah, now I do believe in steady state. Like, I believe that the universe is steady state in that it always existed. I think that the universe always existed, but the matter inside the universe, I imagine that it moves around. You know what I'm saying?
So you believe that the universe itself is eternal?
Yes. Now, believers say that God is eternal, right? So I don't want to be put on the spot just because I'm ascribing eternality to the universe,
okay.
Because a believer will ascribe eternality to God.
Yeah.
So we all in the same boat on that.
What's your reasoning to come to the conclusion that you're coming to as far as it being eternal?
My reasoning is similar to some other atheists. Like it usually comes down to the pain and suffering concept.
Explain this to me.
All right. As a man, I don't find value in the idea that a powerful being is watching people suffer.
Okay.
Because I can't do that. I went to security guard school for a little bit. I can't just watch somebody suffer because I have some plan.
But why are you superimposing your feelings and your emotional situation onto the supreme being of the universe? Doesn't he have divine prerogative if he created it?
I'm imposing it on theology. I'm not imposing it on the supreme
We're
being.
not talking about theology. Let's take the hypothesis that if God is real, right? If God is real and he is the creator of the universe, how can we superimpose how we view the world onto him?
That being is secondary because we assume that there is a supreme being. Like I was telling my brother over here when he invited me. The way I feel, a supreme being is impossible. Like you can't say that there's a being that's before the universe Because where would you put him? And then they say, oh, well, he's unlike anything you've ever imagined. Well, what if he's just like everything I've ever experienced? You know what I'm saying? I think there can only be a supreme entity, which is the universe. Now, there can definitely be superior beings out there. Like, we range from 3 feet to 8 feet tall. You know, we live 70 to 115 years, 125 years, things like that. But there could be 100-foot beings, you know what I'm saying, that could disintegrate their bodies and reintegrate, you know, just like, you know, your nail might grow back. There could be beings out there that can grow back all kind of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But to me, no matter how powerful or how big a being is, I don't necessarily have to worship it, he, him, her, it, or they, because everybody got to pay their dues. You know what I'm saying? You got to prove yourself. Just because you're 100 foot tall, you know, and you can make something that I can't make, that don't mean I got to worship it. When I was a teenager, there was stuff I knew how to do that I forgot how to do it because I ain't did it in a while. We all can do amazing things. You know, if somebody walked on water right now, there'll be a bunch of people worshiping them. But why does somebody walking on water make you worship them? That's like witchcraft. I would rather worship my parents because I know that they made me. You know what I'm saying? And this last thing I'll say, I'll let you respond. We like to say, God made me, God created me. But if we just take a break and think back a few decades, we literally come from goo, sperm and egg, that's goo. Two people having sex. So before we say God made me, I ain't no monkey. Before you say that, remember, Negro, you came from goo.
I wouldn't say God made me. I would say God made the process that creates me.
Okay.
So that's what I would say. So you believe it's impossible for a creator to have existed?
I think that a supreme being is impossible.
I said a creator.
I don't think creators are impossible. Because, I mean, like I said, I think there could be superior beings out there. I think that's possible, but I think that the only thing that could be considered supreme would be the universe or concepts. Like concepts like love, order, truth. Those things are eternal concepts. You can't necessarily find them anywhere. Like peace, there's no address to peace. You know what I'm saying? But peace exists. And so I like to say,
peace only exists if there's chaos present. You won't know what peace is unless there's chaos.
Right. And so I would say that we have to accept everything. You know what I mean?
And that's why God is the balance that he is. That's why you see pain and suffering, so we can understand what peace actually is.
But if we go back to that pain and suffering, I have a problem with a conscious individual watching somebody.
Not only did he watch it, but he curated the situation that you're in.
Curated?
Mm-hmm. Because he has a divine prerogative. For whatever his creation he wants to see it do, he can make it do. It's his divine prerogative. He created it. Just like if you created a video game, you can program the video game to do whatever you wanted it to do.
Right.
The characters within the video game don't have a say-so on whether they have pain and suffering. They're just in the program that was programmed.
Right, and that's actually something that the Jew, not y'all Jewish women, but you know the European Jews.
Okay.
Like them and the Reformed Christians. They kind of have this, and then even y'all, what you saying right now, there's all in agreement with that. And even with my camp too, determinism.
You believe in determinism?
Huh?
You believe in determinism?
Yeah, I don't believe in free will.
You believe in free will, okay.
I don't believe in free will.
We agree.
No,
the Bible agrees with you. You agree with the Bible?
Right. Like if we go to a random synagogue and we ask the rabbi who's the devil, it's gonna be different from what the Christians say, right?
Yeah.
Because the Christians come from the pseudepigrapha. Like they don't really build the whole New Testament off of the Old Testament. They come from a whole nother contemporary culture of Jewish literature where it's just like the Greek devils and stuff, you know, it's rebellions and wars and things like that. Yeah. But if you just go purely off of the Jewish devil, it's similar to Zoroastrianism where it's just like an opposing force, you know. And the rabbis will tell you that God made the devil specifically just to test you. There was no rebellion, there was no war, there was no expulsion.
That's not found within the text.
What?
the rebellion, kicking out third of the angels.
Right.
Yeah, that's not in the
It's
text.
kind of like Slugworth and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for me, as a person who just believes in science, I accept the positive and the negative aspects of life. Like, for example, you go to the beach, you know, on a good day, it's beautiful, pink, blue, you know.
But under that ocean, is a shark chewing on something.
Right. Yeah, and I remember being a teenager, I was in the waves, you know, swimming and playing and stuff. One wave came, picked me up, flipped me, threw me down. Man, I felt like a rag doll. Like my back hit the sand like in this bent like that. I'm so grateful I didn't break nothing. But what that taught me was that, hey, nature ain't no joke.
Okay, so now let me ask you this question. Why don't you have the same visceral for the universe if it does the same thing that the God is, or you're claiming God does?
Well,
how could you be in agreement with the universe and not be mad at the universe for doing what it does, but you're mad at God for setting it up how it's set up?
Well, the universe gives you complete agency. It's like, look, hey, it took me 14 billion years to grow you. Now go and do whatever you want to do.
So you do believe in free will then?
I'm just saying that like poetically. Like I like to say that Saturday through Thursday you gotta talk and act as if you believe in free will. But like on a Friday night, you know, I don't drink, but let's say over a 6-pack, you know, you're looking up at the stars. That's when you start to explain to people that there is no free will. But you can't necessarily go around talking like that all the time because, you know, we still got to let things play out. But metaphysically, which is the highest subject you can study, you know, we can say no, because everything that happens because of a previous cause. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not angry with the universe.
Why not?
Because the universe is an axiom. Like, I would say that the Abrahamic faiths, I would compare it to something like a tumor. Okay. Now,
cancer.
When we're in the womb, we're growing, right? But the goal is just to grow to a certain point and then to function from there. You know, and of course you keep growing in your height and whatnot, and then you get old. But there's a difference between natural growth or an intended growth, or I don't know, we got to find some word to put in there. There's a difference between that growth and like a cancer or a tumor, right?
Which feeds off of the source to grow.
Yeah, and will shorten your life. You know what I'm saying? And to me, that's what the Abrahamic faiths are. Now,
real quick, let's not get confused with the Abrahamic faiths with the biblical text.
Okay.
I want to separate those things because those things are separate.
Okay.
Muslims, Christianity, modern day Judaism do not follow the text.
Okay.
This text is a library of the history of a specific group of people that they documented and passed to their kids. That's what we identify with. We say that we are the descendants, given that the various things that were said to happen to the Israelites are happening to our people. So I want to make that separation with Abrahamic faith so that we're not talking about the text itself.
Well, that's cool. But like, I would also add that anything good that you can get, you know, from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, all the good stuff, you know, you can keep. But those things are universal.
Why you say that?
You'll find concepts of virtue, you know, wisdom, love. You'll find those in Judaism. You'll find those with the Greek philosophers. You'll find them in the Dharmic faiths.
Or you might not find them.
You know, you'll find them because we're all humans, and we might think, oh, you know, this human is a child of the devil and that human is a child of God. Like we might like, you know, oppose each other and marginalize each other like that. But we really all work off the same concepts. Kind of like
I disagree with this.
Well, let me give you this example. You might meet a liberal who rejects all forms of, let's just say, bootstrap philosophy. You know, like you know, you know, all the self-determination concepts. They might reject self-determination, but then when you look at their lifestyle, it has evidence of all kinds of self-determination. Like I got a roommate, he has like 2 PhDs, but you'll never hear him preaching self-determination. But his lifestyle doesn't match what he preaches. You know what I'm saying? Now I did lose my train of thought. but what I was trying to say though is that these concepts are universal. That's why when you listen to some of the prominent atheists, they don't have any problem with the basic morality that the Bible teaches.
Okay, so what's wrong with somebody being immoral according to the Bible? What's wrong with somebody wanting to murder somebody?
Well, this is how Richard Dawkins puts it. Whatever and it's how you find morality without a priest with supernatural, connection or whatever. Whatever is for your benefit, like whatever will lead to your evolution, that's what's moral. But if something will lead to your detriment or to your extinction, that's immoral.
Okay, so let's say somebody likes to deal with prepubescent children, women, kids, girls. Is that moral?
Pedophilia is immoral.
Why?
Well, Louis Farrakhan talks about a story where there was a man who had intercourse with a baby,
Muhammad,
and the baby died.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Let's say that the child is 12.
Let's say the child is 12? Well, here's the thing. With age of consent, like in California, it'll be 18. In some other United States state, it'll be 17. And some
We're not
other
talking about the
Wait, hold
we're not
on.
talking about societal laws though. I just want to know, why is it immoral? Because societal laws does not determine moral or immoral.
Well, you just gave me a scenario of somebody who's 12 years old, and
Yeah.
so I'm responding.
You said it's immoral, and I want to know, why is it immoral?
I didn't say it's moral or immoral.
Okay, is it immoral?
Is it what for a 30-year-old to sleep with a 12-year-old?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I want to slow down on that. You can laugh if you want to, my bro.
We having a conversation.
But your book has all kinds of
Show it to
stuff
me. Prove
that
it.
would
Show it, man.
that would be considered pedophilia in this country.
Here's the Bible. Go ahead and pull the verse up. We'll read it.
Well, why are you asking me about 12-year-olds then?
Because I want to know what your morality is. You're an atheist. You don't believe in God. You don't think there's a universal set standard of code of living. So there's no reason for something to be wrong because there's no God. There is no right or wrong. You do what you want to do.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing. When it comes down to like somebody being 12 or whatever, there's a difference between like when you're able to reproduce and when you aren't. Now, you'll have a 7-year-old and a 6-year-old. If you don't watch them, they might be off in the room somewhere touching and feeling on each other, right? Because that's something that they call sexual behavior in children. You know what I mean? Now, should an adult, like a fully grown person, be touching and feeling on a child? No. You know what I'm saying?
Why not?
Why not? I already gave you an example. You know, I gave you the foundational example of, or the foundational principle of whatever will lead to your extinction is immoral. What will lead to your evolution is moral. And then I gave a case study of a person, an adult who literally had intercourse with a baby and the baby died. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you want to go 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, come on, we're all adults here. We don't have to do that. California might be 18. Some other state is 17. Another state is 16. We don't have to get into all that because 200 years later, your church and the laws are going to be thinking differently on all this stuff. But right now, we can just have common sense on what consent is and what the difference between an adult and a child is.
But I'm saying the common sense that comes from the influence of the biblical text with our Abrahamic faith. Our common sense that you say is common sense comes from the influence of this text.
Well, last time I read the Bible, I don't think it mentioned I don't think it mentioned like ages like our laws do.
So it does.
Well, that's cool if it does, but it doesn't mention every age. Like it's not gonna say.
It does though.
Okay, look. When you read the Old Testament, it's not gonna say these are the laws for a 5-year-old. These are the laws for a 6-year-old.
27. You want me to show it to you?
No, because no.
That's fine. No, you don't gotta show it. But I'm telling you, what you're saying is untrue.
Okay, where the camera at? Where the camera at?
Right there.
Bring camera here. Look.
What he's saying is untrue.
When you
Hold on, say it.
What he's saying is untrue. Now you can go ahead and say it.
check this out. When you read the Old Testament,
Let's go.
it's not going to say these are the laws for a 5-year-old, these are the laws for a 6-year-old, these are laws for a 7-year-old. It might mention such and such a king was king at 8 years old or whatever. Like it might mention that there was a certain king that was 8 years old and that Jesus started his ministry at 30, but it doesn't literally go through every single age from 1 to 100 trying to, set up a gotcha moment like you trying to set me up with.
I'm not trying to set you up a gotcha moment.
So if I already gave you a principle of how to determine morality, and then I gave you an example, and then I even gave you the plurality of different ages of consent, and I even gave you a prediction that 100 years from now, your church and the laws are going to be looking differently at certain things. You know what I'm saying? Why are you still asking me about that? It's obviously a gotcha moment.
I'm not having a gotcha moment. We're talking about the idea of atheism and why are things more and
you're asking me about a 12-year-old?
It's just an example.
Do you like 12-year-olds?
Of course not.
Do you think I like 12-year-olds?
No, I didn't
so
say
why
that.
are you asking me, nigga?
Because I'm unpacking the ideology of atheism.
No, this is a gotcha moment.
It's not a gotcha
I'm talking
moment.
to somebody else because you got to step off.
You
Anybody
can
else?
run away from the conversation. That's fine.
No, because you're being inappropriate.
No, I'm not.
Why the hell are you asking about a 12-year-old?
Because atheism doesn't have a moral system.
Give me an atheist where they would permit an adult to sleep
I'm
with a
not
12-year-old.
saying they do not, or they do or they don't. I'm saying the reason why they don't is because they have an influence of the
You
biblical
off,
text.
man. You off.
How am I off? You're the one an atheist. I'm not an atheist.
No, you the one talking about 12-year-olds. Y'all need to watch him. Y'all need to watch him.
You gotta watch me. He's the atheist. What are you talking about? He doesn't have a moral system.
Why would he check on me? We got it.
I am not checking you. I'm checking the ideology.
You off, bro.
We have to unpack the ideology.
You off. I gave you 3-4 different pieces of exegesis.
And I asked you,
still asked
why
about
was it?
12-year-old.
Why is he moral?
You off. Any of y'all want to say something before I leave?
Have a good day, bro. Have a good day, bro.
I'm a grown man, and I went to college. You off.
And I didn't address anything towards you. You took offense to something that I didn't put that on.
You camped out on something foolish. If
Alright,
you would have just hit on it and then moved, that's different. But you
I
camped
didn't
out
even
on it.
talk. You unpacked the entire conversation. I didn't even respond to it.
And to be fair, you literally said that there was laws in the Bible that let there was scriptures in the Bible that let grown men deal with pre-adolescent children. So now when we start attacking that fact to understand where the hell you're getting that from, because my brother saying it's not in this Bible, now he's staying on the topic. So that's him staying on topic because you are saying these things.
No.
He's asking
Wait. The whole topic was not about dealing with little girls. The whole topic was about morality.
Exactly.
And why is morality a thing for our society if there's no God?
Why are you focused on 12-year-old
It's just an example. The first example I did was murder. And then you made the point that, okay, what's moral is if it leads to our evolution. What's immoral is what leads to our extinction. So I said, okay, murdering leads to our extinction. That's immoral. Let's move to the next topic that doesn't lead to our extinction.
Look, what I was just telling them, we was having a nice conversation up to your question about a 12-year-old.
Brother, I asked you, why is it immoral?
And I answered it, and I gave you about four.
You didn't give me the answer to that question.
I gave you about 4 different points, and you still stayed on it.
You said
that lets me know that you're no different than all of these jokers on TV.
Listen,
now, do
man.
any of y'all else want to build
The
on
fact of the
something
matter
before I
is,
get out of here?
I asked one question, you answered the question, and you unpacked it the entire time.
Hey, did I not give him 4 different points on that question?
Listen, man, the only
Did I
thing...
not give him
He's
4?
not talking to you.
Did I not give him 4 different points
No, you didn't.
as a
No.
response to that question?
No.
And he's still on it.
How am I still on it? You still on it.
You know what's so
Okay.
I didn't even get to
Hey,
respond to the situation.
Hey, you want to segue to something else?
We can segue to whatever you want to talk about.
But you know what's funny? You never even answered was it immoral or not.
That's what I'm saying.
So how did you give out all these different examples and you never
Hey, check
answered?
this out. Okay, check this out. Wait,
That's fine. We can pivot to a different conversation if you want to. We don't gotta have that conversation.
All right, it's 9 of y'all, including my man over here. I don't think any of y'all 9 are interested in a 12-year-old. Neither am I. Now you might be down with multiple wives. I don't see a problem with that either.
Okay.
But you've been watching the media just as long as I have. There are certain things where you gotta learn how to just hit on it and move and learn to accept a certain answer that can be applicable to different time periods and different geographic cultures, things like that. I gave you 4 different points.
What was the 4 points? Let's go over them.
Okay. For one, I gave you what Richard Dawkins said about how to find morality.
Yeah.
If it'll lead to your evolution or if it'll lead to your extinction.
So what's immoral is what leads to extinction. What's moral is what leads to your evolution.
Right. Now, I also gave you the example that Farrakhan gave about an adult sleeping with a baby, and the baby died.
The baby dies.
Then you had asked me about a 12-year-old.
Yeah, because the baby's gonna die, that leads to our extinction. Well, what about something that's not gonna die? Is that still moral or immoral? That was the point.
Okay. Have you read the whole Bible?
Of course. Well, I ain't read the entirety of the Bible, but I have a great general grasp of the Bible. Yes.
Okay, I've read the whole Bible.
Great.
All right. So, this is how I'm gonna deal with it. I understand that that you're a thinking, questioning agent, just like we all are, right?
Right.
I'm just gonna take that as my brother made a mistake, in a public discourse.
No.
Well, you don't have to take it that way. You probably feel like you were standing on business, but to me, that was a mistake.
Okay.
You could have took my examples and said, okay, this brother ain't gonna lead nobody astray on that.
I never ever questioned your morality at all. I never said you're immoral. You said you're an atheist. I want to impact how atheism interprets morality. That's the entire point of the conversation. Why is something right? Why is something wrong? Is there right or wrong?
Why would you ask me about a 12?
It's an example. I started with murder, and we went down the list of examples. That was just the next example that came to mind.
Hey, bro.
Well, we can move on from the topic. We don't want to talk about it. We can move on and talk about something else. We can talk about determinism, free will, all that type of stuff.
Hey, but you saw what kind of person I was when I was dealing with the previous topics, and you literally ask me about a 12-year-old.
Brother, I'm not accusing
you
of doing.
We're black men in public.
Come on, man, fuck.
Huh? What?
Because he feels offended because I'm asking him the question. You are the representation of atheism right now. I'm not claiming that you are doing anything wrong. I'm just attacking the ideology because we're talking about concepts.
Did I not answer your question?
Brother, you didn't give a. I asked you if it was right or wrong. You unpacked the 4 things that you said you unpacked. That's great. It doesn't answer whether it's right or whether it's wrong.
Let me ask you this.
And then
let me ask you
you
this.
didn't give the reasoning as to why.
Well, let me ask you this. Are there on this planet? Are there adults sleeping with 12-year-olds?
Of course.
Okay, so what are we going to do to stop that?
I think we should kill them.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. All right, cool. All right, so what are we going to talk about next?
Whatever you want to talk about. Whatever you want to unpack.
Hey, my boy got something too right now.
What's up, bro?
All right, take care.
All right, what's your name, man?
He didn't like that.
JT.
JT, my name is Lakad, bro.
He don't think pedophiles should be killed.
Hey,
It's all good, man. It's all good, man.
I know what it's like to
It's all good, man. Have a good day, brother. Have a good day, man. Have a good day.
It's not religious.
It's not religious.
Just JT, we love you, bro. Have a good day.
No.
Have a good day, bro.
One of y'all niggas should have stepped up and said something different, but the fact that none of y'all said nothing when me and him was having our situation.
He's internalizing the question towards him, and it's not on him. He's an atheist. He's trying to make it seem wait. He's trying to make it seem like I'm wrong, but he's an atheist. There is no right or wrong.
Wait, did I say that there's no right or wrong?
Okay, is there a right or wrong? Yes or no?
Yes, there is.
Okay, according to what standard is right or wrong?
Why are you asking me the same thing that I answered about 15 minutes ago?
Okay, am I leading to the destruction of our people, extinction? Yes or no?
Is what?
Is what I'm saying leading to the extinction of our people? Yes or no?
Specifically, what you're saying. What are you saying specifically?
What I just said right now.
One thing I know for sure is that over in Israel, they're having a lot of problems right now.
Okay, that's not our people.
That's not your people?
The people over in Israel are not our people. They are converts to the things that we came up with, our ancestors came up with. They took them, remixed them, and they are trying to appropriate our culture, but that's not our people.
That's a fact.
Hey, first off though,
That's a fact.
Maybe next time I walk through here, we could build on this.
For sure.
But I would say that though Judaism has been in Africa for a long time, and I'm not sure, like what particular denomination of Hebrew Israelism your movement is with.
Okay.
The first time somebody introduced it to me, it was a video of a dude literally saying, like he would post a picture of some tribal dude in Central Africa.
Okay.
With his different attires and earrings and stuff.
Yeah.
Making him look foreign. And he would say, "Look at him. Now look at us. Do you think we're the same people?" You know what I'm saying? I'm not with that. I do believe.
Neither are we. Just for the record.
Okay. Yeah, because I believe that we're Africans.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying?
West Africa.
I do believe that Judaism has been in Africa for a long time. I think that it's possible for a person to move on or retire from Judaism, but still hold to the same virtues that are universal.
Okay.
Like it says, you work for 6 days, rest on the 7th.
Yeah.
Taking days off and rest periods, that's universal.
For sure.
I don't think.
Not necessarily.
There are a lot of workaholics out there. There are a lot of wage slaves out there.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that most people in the world would agree that you should take 1 or 2 days off.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Diet. Like Leviticus will go into different parts of the diet and things like that.
Yes.
That's universal.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so the things that are going to evolve you from Judaism, I would say those things are universal.
I would say they're only universal because it's influenced by the biblical text.
Okay.
I would say if you strip away the biblical text, I don't think that morality. I think morality is subjective, and a lot of various different societal norms that we do is subjective.
Morality is subjective,
yes.
Not objective.
No.
Okay, so when
it's only objective if there's a God.
Okay, this is a question that me and one of my old Christian buddies asked each other. When God commands something, does He command it because He says so, or because there's something about that concept that stands which makes it worthy to be commanded?
It depends on the context.
Okay, like for example. Oh, okay. Yeah, for me, I do think that there are certain universal, ethical things. Now, as far as, like you can get into the definition of murder or killing and things like that. Mm-hmm. But aside from murder and killing, there's a concept of, living in harmony with one another. Okay. People kill because they're competing for space, mates, mm-hmm. resources, things like that.
Yes.
It's a scarcity mindset. But if we evolve and we say, look, there's enough for everybody. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter whether it's space, resources, mates. There's enough for everybody to go around. Yeah. So there's no reason to quarrel. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so instead of saying, oh, God has the right to kill, or the person carrying out the commandment has the right to kill. What about commandments to live in harmony? Like for example, in the New Testament, it says to mark those who follow my example. Yes. Right? One commentator talked about how that's the positive marking. You might have heard of the negative marking where it says like mark somebody who's teaching false doctrine, right? Yeah. But one commentator said that had we followed that one verse about the positive marking, we probably wouldn't have had to give out so many negative markings. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so yeah, abortions happen, murders happen, honor killings happen, and all these different things. But the most important thing is learning to live in harmony to prevent the violence.
And that is the entire purpose of the Torah.
Right.
Yes.
The entire purpose. Now, some people will say that the story of Job literally happened. Some people will say, no, the story of Job was a story that the Jews passed on. It's the same thing about the rich man and Lazarus.
Yes.
Some are like,
debate. Yes.
Yeah, some are like, there was no rich man and Lazarus. Some say that there were, right? Yeah. But the most important thing is the doctrinal teachings of ethics and wisdom and things like that. Yes. Like even the New Testament said that there are heavier matters of the law, there are lesser matters. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think that the God conversation should be fun. A lot of people have made it scary. Mm-hmm. You better get it right before you die, or you better get it right before he comes back. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That held me over for, like during my teenage years and my 20s. But once I really, got alone and started to study, it didn't really hold up. I don't think that you have to scare people with an invisible God. There's enough stuff down here that's scary. Yeah. That gives you automatic consequences right here and right now.
Great. I'm so glad you made that point. And those things are tied to our obedience. That's the way it was set up. If we disobey, the things that you said is scary on this earth right now that give us consequences happen because we stop obeying the things. Because this morality is tied to the curses or the blessings or the outcomes that we see in our life.
Right. Right.
Can I read this real quick? Is this okay?
Go ahead.
2nd Ezra 16 verse 19.
Bring it out.
Behold, famine and plague and tribulation and anguish are sent as scourges for amendment.
Right, so basically certain things that we look and we have and we go through is because our direct violations for the obedience of the morality that should be set up in our people.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right, right.
Yeah.
Now, you know how I talked about how if everything was written down that Jesus did, there would be no room in the world, for the books that would be written?
Probably not.
Yeah, probably. And then even in the Old Testament, like, it talks about how if you want to learn more about this particular story, you can go and read this other book.
Yeah, but we don't have that text. Yeah.
Right. Now, there's all kinds of books in the world. You got the wisdom literature of the Hebrews.
Yep.
You got the sayings of Ptahhotep. You got the sayings of Confucius.
Yes.
You got the writings of the Greek philosophers who are contemporary with the Jews and the Christians. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And so there's writings all over the world.
For sure.
A lot of us all start with the Bible. You know what I'm saying? But
we all start with Christianity.
yeah,
Christianity doesn't necessarily teach the Bible.
right. And yeah, you got the different denominations that challenge each other. But for the most part, we start with this canon right here. You know what I'm saying? We start with this.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are gonna stop with that.
Yeah.
But hey, when you're reading social media, that's not the canon. You know what I mean? And so hey, why not read the other stuff that's in the world too?
We can.
Yeah. Once upon a time, they was burning libraries. You know what I'm saying? And so for me, I try to hold on to the good stuff that's in the Bible.
Okay.
I try to benefit from the other stuff that's been written in the world.
We don't disagree with that.
Right. Shoot, I still listen to gospel music.
That's good.
I love me some Donnie McClurkin, but
I listen to trap music.
you listen to trap?
Oh, Shimmy and goddamn
Yeah.
Slowby. That's what I listen to.
Right. Yeah, hey, there's nothing wrong with singing about our primitive instincts, right?
Yeah, not at all.
But I distinguish between the supernatural claims of a sacred text and the universal wisdom in a sacred text. A lot of people, they may want me to at least choose the supernatural claims, even if I don't live up to the wisdom. To me, I would say, look, I'm gonna take the wisdom. I ain't worried about the supernatural claims because I don't wake up to the supernatural. Like, I don't wake up to gods and angels and demons and
the spooky stuff.
Yeah, to me,
that's Christianity, by the way.
Okay.
A lot of this stuff is a lot more practical when you actually examine the text. But I'll let you finish your point.
Right, but even the Jews, they were dualists. They believed in body and spirit and
yeah, we do too.
Right.
We do believe in spirits, but the depictions of the various spiritualities gets thrown to a left field when it comes to Christianity.
Right, okay. All right, cool, yeah. Well, you ever heard of that Yetzer Hara?
No, I haven't.
Okay, evil inclination. This Hebrew word.
Okay.
I think that when people attach like the image of an evil spirit to somebody's negative behavior, that makes it a whole lot worse.
Okay.
But if you interpret somebody's behavior in scientific terms or just in instinctual terms, it makes it more manageable. Because there's two types of, I would say there's three types of people. You got people who are very communal, who they'll make sure that you eat when they eat.
Yeah.
Then you got people who are like very competitive, where even if you don't eat, as long as they eat, right?
Right.
Then you got like opportunistic people who
I'm gonna eat all of this.
or they'll follow whoever wins.
Oh yeah, you're right.
If the communal person wins, they'll follow them.
Yeah.
If the competitive person wins, they'll follow them.
Yeah. That's all driven by our environment and how we grew up.
Right.
Going back to the determinant conversation.
And some people grew up in scarce environments, and so those three categories help me to deal with people.
Okay.
Obviously this person is operating off of a competitive thing, or this is one of them communal people, or this is just an opportunistic person, they followers,
That's fair.
But if you turn around and say, oh, this person got a demon, dang, you go freak a lot of people out, man. Like if a person is having a seizure, they need medical attention. But there are some religious thinkers that would say, oh, they got a demon. In Africa, there's stories of children being discarded from the village because they enough people believe that these children had demons.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And so,
but how could you verify if something like that is true or not?
It was a secondary source that came to me on the internet about people in Africa who...
No, I'm not saying the story is not true. I'm saying, what if they actually did have a demon? What if there is a spiritual aspect to this reality that we live in? How can we prove or deny?
Well, I think that... okay, you know how when we talk about the possibility of life on other planets?
Yeah.
Well, people who don't believe in the flat earth, like just regular, people who believe in outer space... Because I'm not sure if your ministry teaches flat earth or round earth or,
we don't teach a flat earth like a pizza box, no. We don't teach a ball.
You believe in like outer space, like a traditional astronomy,
Not traditional astronomy, but I believe it's outer space. Sure.
Okay. So when friends and family are talking about aliens, ain't nobody go break up with their boyfriend or girlfriend over that. Ain't nobody go get kicked out of the family over that. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like, could there be aliens? Maybe.
Yeah.
Was that video a UFO or was that Photoshop or whatever?
Right.
It's fun, right?
Yeah.
But for some reason, we make the God conversation not fun. Because aliens would be our heavenly brothers and sisters. The God that the Bible teaches would be like a heavenly father, right?
Yeah.
So why can't we make the God conversation fun?
I think we can. I think a lot of times people don't have the information, so a lot of times they cleave to emotional responses because they don't have the information.
Okay.
But when you actually examine the text and you do your studies and you start unpacking various different concepts, I think you can make that conversation fun. I've made the conversation fun a whole lot of times.
Right. But when you in the pulpit, on a Sunday or whatever day of the week or Saturday, like if you teaching from the Bible and like when it says Moses met the Lord on the mountain and you teach it like there was a historical Moses who literally saw God on the mountain, like you gonna have people in the pew that's gonna be like, dang, like this stuff really happened,
But then when I get to talking about Amamisi within the Egyptian records and going over his lifestyle and it matches up with the biblical text, that's a historical account that we can line up with.
Did Amamisi have like an encounter with celestial?
Amamisi is Moses of the Bible.
Okay, right. One of the things that I saw at school was there are professors who are able to explain a biblical text but not explain it like this actually happened. They explained it as this is what the writer is saying.
Yeah.
This is what the people at that time believed.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think that is a whole lot more responsible. Because think about it. You're going to have kids, grandkids. You know what I'm saying? And this book comes from a culture, a certain part of the world, Should we really be telling our kids and our grandkids that everything is based off of this book?
Everything is based off this book? What do you mean?
Like it's all about this lineage of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, Moses, David, and Jesus and the apostles, and then Jesus is gonna come back, and whoever is not on Jesus' side is gonna be cast into the lake of fire.
Well, that's what the Israelites wrote and depicted and wrote down to give to their children. Do you agree that the Israelites was an actual historical people group and culture? Okay, all right. So this is their literature.
Right. If I had kids and they asked me about the Judeo-Christian teachings, I would explain it like, son, daughter, people from all over the world, all different time periods, have wondered about where we come from and where we're going and why do things happen.
Yeah.
And they've concluded, hey, maybe there's a creator. And then there's bad things that happen. They conclude maybe there's an evil spirit. They feel the wind and they see their shadow and things like that. and they see babies born and elders die. You know, okay, maybe we have a non-corporeal part of us, soul, spirit, and things like that. And so it's one idea after the next, and then it creates a whole belief system. But then you'll have somebody come and say, oh, I'm a prophet, I'm a priest. That God that this culture concluded exists, I actually have a connection with that one, and he speaks to me in ways that he doesn't speak to you guys. So if you guys pay me and listen to me, I'll make sure that you guys are in compliance with him.
And what if we demand evidence? Show us that God is dealing with you and you only.
That's what the Old Testament says, right? It says if a prophet appears,
he says something's going to happen and it comes to pass, then he's a prophet. If it does not come to pass, kill him. He's not a prophet.
Right. You know, do you believe in Jesus Christ?
Of course.
Okay.
Do you believe he existed?
I believe in a historical Jesus. Even if it wasn't the son of Mary and Joseph. You know, there were a lot of people named Jesus at that time. There was rabbis, there were crucifixions at that time. There was even a dude named Apollonius of Tyana who had a similar story. So, you know, there are people like, dude, you know who I want to learn more about? Joseph Bar Kokhba. Did I pronounce it? Was it Joseph or Jacob Bar? Last name was Bar Kokhba. He was the dude, he was anointed as the Christ by one of the priests. And if I remember correctly, he actually led the Hebrews into the Jewish-Roman War.
Yeah, revolt.
There was a few people who they felt was the Christ. But where were we again? We were talking about...
you was explaining... Yeah, where are we?
Right. Okay, so... the prophet.
Okay, you're a prophet. I was turning...
Where would our people, because you said the people came up with the idea that, okay, bad things happen, maybe there's an evil spirit. Where would they know anything about spirits from? Where would they grab
He said it's a
idea?
natural inclination.
Hell no.
That's what he says.
Is
that what you said?
Where would you grab? Because you got to think, in those times, they didn't have the internet, they don't got telephone, they don't got none of that stuff. You feel me?
Who implanted that imagination?
Books and none of that stuff. So where are those people tapping into that, okay, there may be a God that created us and there may be an evil spirit? Where would they get that idea of a spirit from? Just from not having any
They were more advanced back then than we are now.
But even if they was advanced, that doesn't explain the explanation of spirituality. Where's the initial idea of spirituality coming from?
Well,
the creator.
Well, that's what I would say, but he doesn't believe in the creator.
There is creator. We're living in a creation. Everything we in here is a creation. Even poverty created. They know what we're going to do before we do it. All the chaos and destruction, they already know we're going to do it. These environments were strategically created for us to cause destruction and kill ourselves and make us into bad people. And put us in the news and say, this is a bad person. But if you take a step back and look at the environment and look where we're at, they could have suburbs all in America if they wanted to, and drive out all these liquor stores, all the drugs, if they wanted to.
But when it comes down to
there is no such thing as a ghetto and hood. They created that and call it that. And they make us and put us in these environments and they say, yeah, they're going to fuck up their minds. We're going to separate their families and they know if you ever survive, you know you're gonna do stuff off of impulse. You're not even gonna think rationally when you're surviving. If you're going to rob somebody, you're not even thinking about the person. You're thinking about what they got. You don't care if you kill them or whatever the case, but you're not thinking about that. You're just thinking about, oh, I got the money or I got the chain. And they know that we're moving like that.
Or you might rob somebody because God told you to take their land because he says that they sinners, and so you can go in there and take their land and kill some of them off.
That's a fact.
That's his divine prerogative.
I think it would be better to say, man, y'all got some nice stuff up in here. I think I might want it. Like Goliath. Goliath was honest, man. He was like, look, y'all bring out y'all best dude and he can come and fight me. If I win, y'all serve us. If you win, we serve you. I would say that's better than the conquest of Canaan. Because the conquest of Canaan, they're saying like, there's a God who has sent us to take what y'all have?
Because it was ours first.
Really? I thought Abraham came from Iran, right?
And it was promised what? The land of Canaan.
Right. So if that's kind of like if I was
That's
born,
before the Canaanites was there. Though.
like if I was born in Canada and then I migrated to Florida,
And nobody's in Florida. Wow, look at this.
when
Florida.
Abraham got to Canaan, there was people there, right?
Okay, so does that mean that they occupied the land when the time the Israelites went in there?
Well, this is when we get into how humans are to interact with each other. I like how in some of the Eastern faiths they actually teach veganism.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Because how we go say you got steak, potatoes, and broccoli, and you say, "Oh, thank you, Lord, for this meal that we're about to receive," right?
Yeah.
That cow just got slaughtered.
It did.
And you're saying, "Thank you, Lord, for this meal
Yes.
that we're about to receive."
Exactly.
Like for me, I still eat meat, but
you want them to keep preaching that?
but consciously, I have a vision for myself that one day I'm gonna give it up because
Why?
Because how can I sit here and be like, man, the police is treating us wrong, and this race is treating us wrong, but I'm taking part in the predation over all these animals just because they're smaller. There was
But animals do that to other animals.
Right, yeah. It all started on the ocean floor where predation was more convenient than finding some algae or something. And so the whole animal kingdom has been committing the same sin.
So why is it not natural?
It is natural. Everything that happens in nature is natural.
Okay, so why are you against it?
Because in our evolution, I think that certain creatures evolved to be able to ask certain questions. You know what I mean?
Explain it.
Like, for example, the chimpanzees, I believe they're our cousins, right? If a mother chimpanzee leaves her baby unattended right there with the troop, and I don't know if she goes off and grabs some fruit or something, there are other, female or male chimpanzees who will kill it.
Yeah.
Because it's not theirs, and they try to eliminate other lines or whatever.
Yes.
To promote their own line and things like that. Right. And that's just a natural occurrence that happens with the chimpanzees.
Okay.
But I wonder if we could actually communicate to them in sign language and explain to them, y'all shouldn't be killing the baby chimpanzees like that. And what if they can understand? Because there have been other primates who have learned sign language, you know what I'm saying? But just because that's a behavior.
But they would be learning their morality from us.
Right.
That's not a natural morality for them.
Well, even amongst humans, like, you'll have this group that learns something about fire, but this group of humans may not know. And the males, they tend to get ousted from their family groups, and they roam around looking for a new group to join.
Okay.
And what happens is they end up transferring the knowledge across from all the different human groups. So this group might have learned something about jewelry. This group might have learned something about fire. This group might have learned something about spears or whatever.
Yeah.
And because, the third son...
The people that conquered the world and created this world gave us half-assed information. And they knew that. They twisted all the religions and they gave us information and said, we're going to have these niggas thinking they know something and arguing and debating like we are right now about nothing.
Right, but if
they have the answers that they're looking for.
But that suspicion,
Who was they?
The people that created this world.
Who was that?
At least, I don't know, but I know that there's somebody out there because...
Where'd you get that information from?
That is the information that I get is from a lot of quiet thinking and just my own experiences and connecting dots and experiences in the world. But yeah, I don't have no 100% source, but I know what I'm talking about.
Let me ask you this: who works for the rich people?
Who works for the rich people?
Everybody else.
The poor people, right? So if the rich people were feeding the poor people nothing but lies, how would the poor people be able to even properly work for the rich people?
what you're saying. You just said answer your own question.
Right. Even though there might be some lies that they tell us, just like we tell each other some lies sometimes.
Everything is a lie.
Not everything, because if everything was a lie, we wouldn't be able to function. Like if a rich man tells a poor man, I need you to come and clean my swimming pool.
It creates this world to distract us. Everything is a distraction distracting us from who we are.
And who are we?
Oh, great question. You said, who are we?
Who are we?
That is a question. That's what I'm in search for right now.
We are the Israelites of the Bible.
That's right.
I'm gonna get it for you, brother.
JT, you out of here, man? Can I get some dap now, man?
Yeah. But you gotta be humble and admit if you made a mistake, though. Just because you're the leader of the
I'm not the leader. I'm not the leader over here. I'm not the leader.
Even in the
I'm
Bible,
not the leader.
There are leaders in the Bible who will say, "I messed up."
I would say I messed up if I thought I messed up. I genuinely don't think I messed up.
Okay, but hey, we gotta pay attention to the culture out there in the media. Like those whole gotcha moments. Sometimes those aren't necessarily beneficial.
I'm not trying to get you, brother. I'm trying to unpack the ideology.
Huh?
You felt like that, but he wasn't trying to do that.
I ain't trying to do it.
But do you really think that, with the context of our conversation, that I needed to be questioned on that?
No, I wasn't questioning you. You think I was questioning you? I was not.
Well, maybe I made a mistake then. But to me, why you keep laughing, bro?
I want to admit it now.
Huh?
It's funny. It's funny that you accuse him,
bro. You've been
over an hour for making a mistake. I laugh at everything though. They'll tell you. I'm gonna never stop laughing. That's why they never said stop laughing, because they know I'm gonna laugh. So me laughing has no jurisdiction.
But I am suspicious though, because
I'm gonna laugh, bro.
Because religious groups tend to carry certain of the same culture traits,
Okay.
And it's 9 of y'all. There's no way all of y'all supposed to be up here in uniform, whatever he says. No, y'all grown men.
Hey man, you see how we operate, brother. We not like the Hebrew Israelites that you see. Low-key, you damn near not even associated with it.
No, but when we was having a disagreement, none of them helped. They were just backing you up.
That wasn't backing me up.
And you got a brain and I got a brain, so we both was trying to make logical sense out of something, and none of them said anything constructive. That's not helping.
What if they just agreed?
Huh?
What if they just agreed?
There have been studies that show that when you get people together that disagree, they could actually get more done than a group when people all think the same thing.
You should be my cousin Rada. We disagree on everything.
Because I know when if you go back to my old church that I was working for, they'll tell you that JT didn't care if the minister said this or if our denomination said that. Whatever JT got from the Bible or from his relationship with God, he would say it, even if it was unpopular amongst his denomination.
That's great.
That's the type of
That's
Christian
what we promote.
I was.
That's what we promote.
You know what I'm saying?
Go and read it and you find out for yourself. We gonna just teach you what we learned.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's how I feel about that.
All right, JT.
Huh?
I said, all right, man.
Okay.
Good talking to you, man.
All right, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Y'all stay up.
Now a nigga know the truth, I show by works. They can't tell a nigga nothing, I'm in my bag now. I'ma sacrifice my life just to get me a crown. I'm feeling like P.O.P. cause I'ma hold it down. I can't wait to go home and touch that holy ground. 12 tribes of Israel, nigga, that's all I see. The only way about this life is an R.I.P. All I know is push his weight cause it's all on me. Oh yeah, highway every